This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Welcome to Late Boomers, our podcast guide to creating your third act with style, power, and impact. Hi, I'm Cathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Join us as we bring you conversations with successful entrepreneurs, entertainers, and people with vision who are making a difference in the world.
Everyone has a story, and we'll take you along for the ride on each interview, recounting the journey our guests have taken to get where they are, inspiring you to create your own path to success. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Cathy Worthington. Welcome to the Late Boomers podcast, where our guest today is author K.A. Oliver, who has a bold story about reinventing herself.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Our boomer listeners will be inspired to hear about how this survivor of the Hollywood system became an award-winning author. She has just been named Author of the Year in Fiction, woohoo, from the International Association of Top Professionals. Welcome, Kay.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you two ladies.
Great to have you.
Thank you. You have a unique story. Please tell us about your background and how that brought you to the successful place where you find yourself now in your writing.
Yes. Well, when I was younger, I loved writing and I always have loved storytelling one way or another. So when I went for my degree, I got radio, TV, film degree, and then I got a master's in business and I worked in Hollywood. My first job was at television, and if you've worked in Hollywood at all, television's a different animal than the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job working for Lew Wasserman, the late great Lew Wasserman at Universal Studios, and I enjoyed that immensely.
Head of Universal.
Yes, owner and head of Universal. One-time agent for people like Jimmy Stewart and Ronald Reagan. So very politically involved. So from there, I did some work for Disney and work at Warner Brothers and ended up, it didn't end there, but went to DreamWorks when Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen started that and worked one-on-one with Katzenberg and Spielberg periodically. And then I went on to do Power Rangers. What I found was
with Haim Saban.
Oh, my
Saban.
daughter loved the Power Rangers. Oh my gosh.
I learned a lot. I became an expert.
I bet.
So, but while I worked at DreamWorks, I had a first and last, which, for your listening audience is if you write a screenplay, they get to look at it first. And if they don't want it, then you can shop it out. And if someone makes you an offer, they get a last chance to look at it as well.
Oh, that's a good deal.
But my screenplays were strong female, independent women characters, and I was told those aren't marketable.
Of course, and they were a little bit backwards.
Times have changed.
Times have changed a little bit.
Not enough.
Not
nearly
agree.
enough.
So I had battled cancer at one point, breast cancer. And I was working for a studio back then who will rename nameless. And I was let go of my job the week I reported my diagnosis. So I lost my job and my income and my insurance.
Oh, God.
So I survived that with the help of friends.
What a lawsuit that is, though.
Isn't it? Well, you can either fight your cancer or fight the lawsuit. I
know, and it's pretty hard to do that.
Cancer is an amazing beast to survive. I remember praying, like, Lord, if it's my time, just take me, because this is difficult, very difficult. And anyway, I did survive that, obviously. Here I am.
There you are.
And when I kept hearing the things about women not being marketable and strong, independent characters, that are female, don't move the dollar signs, I decided that, well, last time I was out of a job, it wasn't my choice. And I survived. This time it's going to be my choice, and I'm going to start writing. And I did.
That leads,
Mhm.
that's basically the question I was going to ask you about how and why you transitioned from working in Hollywood to becoming an award-winning author. I mean, I could just say author, which is hard, but award-winning author?
Yeah,
I'm
I have
jealous.
yeah, I have 25 awards to my name. Some of them you see behind me. But yeah, creative control. My first book, Strong Female Character, won 4 awards. So I knew I was on the right track.
Mhm. And you've got some on your website. It looked like there were like 9 novels on there now. How
There's
many
10.
novels have you written?
10.
10.
The
And
11th one is written and it'll come out next month, and I'm writing my 12th as we speak. I had to stop for this. So,
I,
Oh
yes.
dear, we're interrupting the writing flow. Oh
Right.
dear. So, what was it like working for well-known producers and directors like Lou Wasserman and Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg that you mentioned? In
Yeah,
what
so
what capacity were you usually working for them in?
For Universal Studios, I oversaw the material control. That means anything the studio uses, anything a set or TV show on the lot would use. You make sure that we have everything that they would need if they need to come and pick up lumber to build a set or anything like that. So, a material control analyst for the studio operations.
Oh,
And then I did
wow.
a little of the legal work of clearing movies before they came out. So I did those
That
2
well that
things, but
that's wearing different hats.
yeah,
And
totally.
I think material control for a studio is nothing that like we the public would even think existed. Like
right.
You know,
I
right.
work in Hollywood and I would never even know that job was a job, you know, that it existed.
Something I started when I was working there is because I graduated from Cal State Fullerton, I graduated without ever having put feet on a studio lot. And I thought that's odd, right? That's odd. I worked for, we had cable back then, right? You do those local cable shows. And,
Yeah.
so I set up a program where the comm department would bus in a bunch of students, put them in a room, and then have different executives throughout the studio come through because a
Mm.
studio is a little city. Universal
It
Studios,
absolutely is.
Paramount is a little city. You've got cleaners, you've
Uh-huh.
got stores, you've got nail salons, you've got food, you've got everything that a
Restaurants.
city
And
needs. Yeah.
don't forget the coffee shop like in La La Land.
Oh, no
Everybody knows
kidding.
that scene. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, because Warner Brothers has 2 or 3 Starbucks, I think,
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
So, people don't realize that, and sometimes the best way to get a foot in the door is mailroom, stationery ordering. Everything needs to be there. Cleaners are there. I mean,
Mhm.
you name it. So,
Did
I would
that
have them
progress
come
Wow.
to
in. Yeah.
another type of job there?
What was that?
Did that progress to another type of job there?
Oh, no, no, no.
You got a big that was a big job,
Oh, it's a huge job.
Oh,
material
material control
control.
analyst job? Well, not
Yeah.
really, because I went from that to the
To
legal.
the legal.
Well, yeah. So, and then then when I got hired at DreamWorks, it was the consumer products arm. So
Oh.
Oh.
I helped make Shrek look like Shrek all around the world. There's no place you can go on vacation and get away from it. I learned that very quickly.
It's true, well, especially with like with Disney, everything's out
Everything.
there everywhere.
Yes.
Was it product placement or working with the products in a different way?
Creating the products for retail stores around the world. Yeah.
Oh,
So if
that's
you
a
wanted to
huge
have a Shrek
job.
doll or a Shrek calendar or a Shrek figurine. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, Shrek changed between movies 2 and 3. He got a little taller, a little healthier. So
Oh.
there's something you never what?
That's so funny.
Or you sit around a room discussing what musical note a Shrek fart should be. Conversations you never think you'd ever have.
I
That's
love that.
really great.
I was about to ask you if you had any interesting stories. That's certainly one of them anymore.
Yeah, I have a few. I have a few.
Well,
You know what I loved about working at Universal and working with Wasserman, and well, there's a couple of things. One thing is he was an inventor of sorts, right? He helped
oh,
invent the points behind for actors agreements where you get paid a certain amount up front and then you get paid on the points behind how much money the movie brings in. He
Mm-hmm.
was an architect in that. And then Jeffrey Katzenberg is the same kind of way. He puts money into innovation and helps make animation quicker and then also more lifelike.
Mm.
So that,
Mm-hmm.
they contribute in ways we never think, as studio heads might do. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
always great. But
coming down from the top and
yeah, yep.
influencing the whole company like that. That's
And the
great.
whole world, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
the thing about DreamWorks is you could walk through the commissary and every table might have a completely different language because they would get their talent from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome. But
Well, anybody like me who sits through all the credits at the end of an animated film, I just am blown away by the number of companies
Oh,
participating
yeah.
and the number of countries always.
And the number of
mhm.
people.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
sheer numbers, thousands of people, but
Yeah.
I love watching the credits roll because you just can't believe that anybody could coordinate all those people.
They ought to
And
go a little slower down the screen.
you also, yeah, they
Yeah.
should, but you also know that's not everybody, right? Because that's not
Uh,
including the parking people and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
right,
that
right.
contributed one way or another.
Yeah. Well,
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
talk.
but so
Let's. I really would love to hear about your writing and about the process you go through. How you started. Do you have a out? Do you work certain hours of the day? Are you disciplined every day? I mean, talk a little bit about your writing process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's discipline or passion, but my first book came from a lifelong, well, not lifelong, but for many years I've had this question: why do we bring up every mummy we find in Sudan or Egypt? And are we disturbing their peace? Because here, you're not allowed in many graveyards. You're not allowed to dig up people. You just can't go dig them up. And, you have to, it's sacred. And so I thought, well, maybe I should look into that, venture into it. And I started writing a novel that it's called Disturbed Tombs. That's the first book.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about, and come up with my own uh, answer to that question. So that's what got me started.
Do all your books answer questions?
No. Unless you wanna know who killed somebody, then yeah, cozy mystery questions. Yeah,
Nice,
then
right.
but that is um, they do in my books have a lot of humanity. They have a lot of things that you experience in life, even, a husband and wife team, his flaws, her flaws, how they support each other, um, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So, and then only one of my books is inspired by a true story, and that's Road to Elysium, and that one's won 10 awards on its own. So, right
And
there, you got 14.
do you write every day a certain number of hours? How do you do that?
I do not. I write and get what part of the story. So I'm not a plotter. I know the beginning of my story, and I know how I want it to end. And I can see it in
Mm-hmm.
my head like a movie, for lack of a
So
better term.
you're a pantser.
Yes, I'm a pantser. I'm by the seat of the
Pantser.
keys,
Yeah. So
and
tell our audience what that is.
that is someone who just wings it, for lack of a better way to say it. You just write as you
Perfect.
think, and it comes into your head. Though I have the ideas, but I just continue to write. I always have been someone who can write fast.
Ah.
If you want me to write a memo, I'll get it to you in 20 minutes in perfect condition. Like
Mm.
boom, here's a 3-page memo. Um, so when I sit down to write, like today, I've written a chapter in probably an hour, hour and a half, maybe.
Oh my goodness, how
Uh,
many pages?
I write 10 pages for a chapter now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on just going to start chapter 4 after we hang up here. But
Mm-hmm.
I can sit and write all day. And I have a dog that lets me know that I've been sitting too long. So,
Ah.
yeah,
I
so when I
bet.
get this I have to get it out of my head. I don't know if you know how that feels, but it's in here. It's like, if I miss a day and I didn't sit down and write what I was thinking about, I have to sit down and get that out of my head so that I can get the next part. So, people have asked me to help
Mm.
them write books, and I go, I can't. I've got 3 books in my head and I need to get them out. So,
Wow, they just come
yeah,
to you like that.
they do.
That's very magical.
It
You're
is.
pulling magic from the universe, right? And just putting it.
I think so. I think I'm a conduit for somebody up there. I don't, sometimes I amaze myself when I go back and read something and go, I wrote that? So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
you
Oh.
understand. So, but I also offer writing tips for new starters. So
Oh,
on my
can you give
website,
us a
free.
few?
Well, we've got
Yeah,
that for. We're going to
this
ask
is
you that later. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Go ahead. You
Um,
can do it now too.
okay, I will go ahead and do that. Like you said, if you're a brand new writer, the best thing you can do is set up a space that's yours for writing. I have a desk that faces the window so I can see outside, and I have a nice little plant because that makes me feel good, and I'm comfortable. I bought the desk just for this. I bought the chair just for this. So I have a place. You should write, if you've never written before, 20 minutes a day. If you can, start that way. If you do
Hmm.
want to plot, if you're that kind of person, and funny that I'm not because I'm a Virgo. I plan everything. Um, just start writing. What you need to remember is novels, award-winning novels are not made in the draft, second draft or third draft. They are made in the edit stage. So
Mm.
just write and get your thoughts on the paper. Do not try to perfect it when you first start writing.
It's hard to do.
Never end at the end of a chapter for the day, and maybe not even at the end of a sentence
Well, that's what
Oh.
because
Hemingway did. Hemingway would basically write the first, what did he do? He wrote the first line of the next chapter and then put the book down till the next day.
yeah, you can do that or you can stop anywhere, but don't stop at the end of the chapter, because you
Oh.
you you hit a little wall. But if
Oh,
you have
right. The
something,
next day you might not
yeah,
have any new information.
or new thoughts, but if you have a thought
Yeah.
going already because you've written half the sentence and you left it, then you read that sentence and go, "Oh yeah, that's where I was," and you pick up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And on a slightly different subject, are you on a path to having any of your novels being turned into films?
People are asking for Road to Elysium. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, this is
Oh.
this is weird." Yeah, so, I have shared a couple of, my screenplay with a few. Netflix has it, there's another streaming service that has it, and a producer friend that has it.
So you turned it into a screenplay already?
I have.
Oh, good for
Good for
you.
you,
Yes,
because
Do
you
you
you have a lot of experience with that.
you're right. I do. So, I went ahead and wrote that just in case, and, was shopping it
Mm-hmm.
around a little bit, so we'll see.
Oh, that's
Good for you.
exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any more tips for writers that you can give us or give me? And also, what about somebody, because we do have a boomer audience, what about someone who's of a certain age and they just decide, I've always wanted to write like you, or you always have written. How did they start?
I was over 60 when I started writing. I started writing in
Ooh,
2020.
bravo. Bravo.
2020. So,
So
yeah,
you've written 10 books in 4 years
yes,
and won
ma'am.
Wow.
11.
and won 25 awards, 11. Oh my
11.
That is
gosh.
that
You
is
talk about a
amazing.
high achiever. That's brutal.
Like I said, I write fast, and I
You
have a
Yeah.
great
certainly
editor.
do. I think
Uh,
I've written one book in 8 years.
Love it.
that is yours fiction or
It's fiction.
is fiction? Okay, so
Yeah.
here's a little trick I do. I have lots of great girlfriends and guy friends, and all my characters, by the way, the main characters of every one of my novels starts with the letter K. Oh wait, my first name's K.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wonder why.
So, but
Mhm.
my
Don't use
supporting.
mine. Mine starts with a K too.
Oh, it does. Okay. Oh, I
Well,
can't use.
she's already used 11 of them at least. So
Yes.
she may have
Um,
hit yours.
She might have.
um, I asked my friends to give me a last name that they wish they had at some point. So Doris in my first book, her character name is Doris Wolf. My friend Doris liked the name Wolf. And
Huh.
so I have this whole character built already because I know Doris. I know what she likes. I know what she doesn't like. I know her highly intelligent, is perfect for that character, and I don't have to sit there and make up all this stuff about a character because I've got one.
Oh,
I've
So
got
it
her
is
already.
from life.
It is from I use a lot of stuff from life. I do. Yeah.
And
So
do
and
your
I
friends
also
like being in your books?
yes, they do. And if it's a scene I'm a little nervous about writing, I'll call them and go, "I wanna write this scene." They're like, "No one knows who we are." I'm like, "Don't be
and
too sure."
what about for people that might not be that brilliant at creating that? How can they start? How can they get started? What's a tip for people that
Write
want to
down your
start late in
ideas.
life?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
just I'm sure you know how many people you talk to that say, "I have a book inside me?" Well, have you sat down to
mm,
start writing it? That's the hardest part, I believe,
It is
because
sitting
I
down and
always
doing it.
sitting down and doing it and not doubting yourself. You have to believe in yourself and trust in yourself.
And
That's
trust
right?
that
just
it will come from the universe.
and
Yes,
trust what's coming out on the page is going to work at some point.
right,
Just trust it and keep
right.
going, right?
And write it for yourself. Because I'm gonna tell you that when you go to publish it, someone's gonna come back and tell you, "That resonated with me." Because we are all human. You might think, "Well, nobody was gonna want to read this." You're wrong.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
you're
Because that I
wrong.
mean, I thought that too, when I first wrote my first book, people are gonna think I'm crazy. We're talking about, excavating people out of the ground and communicating
Yeah,
with them.
but
And, I
they
was
embraced you
oh my gosh.
instead of disbelieving you. It's really great. How do you draw on your own experiences to give your characters life? Do you actually, like, say, have a character that has breast cancer, or do you have a character that works at Hollywood studio, or do you draw from that?
I'd actually draw from my interests. If I wasn't working in Hollywood, would have been an archaeologist.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, yes. So my first character is an archaeologist. I love sciences, so I have an anthropologist in one. So I tend to give them the ologies of a profession.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I love research, so I do a lot of research. So I got a compliment that my first book, because they traveled to Sudan and everything, that, "Oh my gosh, have you been there in that country? Because you're so accurate." And I'm like, "No, it was research and Google Maps and Google Pictures." And yeah, so,
but you can
I
And you
get
love
know
that
caught
how
too.
up
they
in research a lot because I love research too, and I sometimes would rather do research than write.
Yeah,
but you know how they say write what you know, but you're saying
yes.
you don't have to if you're thorough enough.
If
I
you're
was
thorough
talking
enough, you don't have to, but
I
your
was talking to a
characters
guy the other day, and he said a friend of his wrote a book about baseball that took place in Brazil. He'd never been to Brazil. He'd never played baseball, and he knew nothing about baseball. And he said everything literally in the book was wrong.
Oh,
A baseball guy read it and said nothing would work for baseball that you're mentioning. Take the baseball out, but it was about that. And then he said nothing from Brazil rings true when he gave it to a Brazilian. So he had to change the whole thing to Florida or some such thing.
something
But
that he knew.
it's
Okay.
so crazy. But obviously, you can do research that can take your reader right where you want them to be.
Right, but then because we all live life, write about yes, I haven't written about breast cancer or something like that, but I'd still write about experiences that I have. Or Spielberg taught me that, you take a scream to a laugh or a laugh to a scream without
Ooh,
foreshadowing. And I love to do that. So in one of my books, there's a situation where it's drama, 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 and then, oh my gosh, it's happening again. And then all of a sudden it's, oh no, that's not what's happening. And people go, wait, what did I just read? And it becomes comical. So,
yeah.
that's how life
wow.
is, right? You walk into a room, you might trip. You don't see that in books often. I put that in my books. I
Wow.
put, yeah, I put real life stuff in there. Wives tickling their husbands, and they're in the middle of a murder investigation, and his wife can't. I just had to do that, honey. You were right in front of me. That kind of stuff that we actually do in life.
Yeah, well, but don't you always pull from your own life? Any writer does because that's
Yes,
really all they know. When they say write what you know, it isn't always the subject. It often is just write your experiences into that character. Do you
yes.
agree?
Yeah.
That's where you put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
Tell us more about some of the
For
books
sure,
you've
for
written,
sure.
and can you name them again for our audience? And also,
Sure.
a lot of your books, we understand, talk about female resilience. Is that in all of them?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes, that is in all of them. They're all strong, independent women with respectful, high-end jobs, which, technological or scientific or something like that kind of profession. And if they have a romantic other, a boyfriend, or falling in love with someone, or a husband, they have a mutual respect for each other. That to me is very important. Where they share their lives together, walk together, and both respect each other's careers. So that is always something. Are they flawed? Sure, we're all flawed. Are they playful? They're all playful because I'm playful. I'm
mhm.
mischievous. Let me correct that. But
Ah,
so
Love it.
give me a chance to play a fun practical joke, and I'll do it. Um, so my first set of books are the Disturbed Tombs, the Dr. Callie Worthy series, and I'm writing book number 4 as we speak. But that book is, archaeological. That's the one where I said to answer the question, what happens when we dig up all these mummies? We find 28,
Mhm.
we dig up 28. I know it's under the guise of science, but is it? So that
Mm.
series has a little bit of paranormal in it. And then I have the Sisters in Cold Blood series, the Shaw investigation series. That one starts off with a woman inheriting a house, having to do research how she ended up inheriting it because she didn't think she was related, and finds out she was. But she finds a letter dated 1909 from a serial killer confessing his killings, and nobody's ever seen him on the radar.
it
So she
gives me
goes to find
goosebumps.
those bodies to close those cases, even though it was 1909 and the police didn't want to do anything about it because everybody should be dead at this point, regardless. So that starts off that, and her and her husband become an investigative team. And I have 5 Pounds of Pressure is the second book where a skeleton is found in a house they're tearing down, and they want to go back. That would be a cold case as well. And then the new one coming out before he kills is the third book that's coming out this month
Oh,
or
I
next
love
month.
them.
It's still November. So
Do you
I've
have a
got those. Go ahead.
oh, do you have a
So
favorite
it's
book, or is that like singling out one child when you're a mother?
Or in Hollywood, the one project you're working on is always your favorite book, right? Whatever movie you're shooting, that right now is your favorite movie. Um,
mhm.
yeah, so it might be Road to Elysium because it has received so much acclaim. It seems to be the one that everybody recognizes me first and then discovers my other ones. I have a couple of I took a little shot into romance, but then I found out I was doing hard-boiled cozy mysteries anyway because I just don't have two people staring at each other and starry-eyed, and I that's just not me. It has to be action adventure.
I
Love's
like that.
Calculated Risk is a female accountant who gets a new client, and he's charged with crimes that their firm should have, caught. And so she goes out to help, you know, show his innocence, and in the sense they get caught up in crime and get shot at and have to hide out and yada yada. And at the end,
Well,
it's
I have
romantic.
another question about you mentioned series. So, a couple of your series, it
Hmm.
sounds like you write some of them out of order, like you switch series, or did you write the
Oh
whole series?
no, I write them out of order. Yes,
You write
I
them
jump
out of
back and
order.
forth.
That's what I
It,
thought you were saying, and I thought that's phenomenal.
it
How you
is
keep that in
phenomenal.
your head and go back to the other series.
Well, what's funny
Somebody should
is
do an exam of your brain. You're
no,
amazing.
yeah. um, that helps me break the series apart. So if I wrote 3 books together, I kind of start losing track of what book did that happen in. And if I
Yeah.
write a book and then jump to the other series and write a book, and then I go back to this series, I know clearly where I'm at for me.
Oh,
Whoa, it sounds like it'd be the opposite for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No.
scary. Well,
I don't
you
want to
have
be scared
Keeps you
of that.
demonstrated
fresh. It
you have
keeps you fresh.
demonstrated you've demonstrated so much resilience as a woman and survivor. So, what would you like to leave our listeners with today as a takeaway? Just elaborate on give us some inspiration.
Absolutely. Trust yourself. If you can think about doing it, do it. And if people around you are not supportive, find people who are. You choose your friends. I have great friends. I know my first little novellas were not all that great, but they told me they were awesome and they encouraged me to keep writing. And that's important. And get into communities of whatever it is you want to do. If you want to, become a florist, join communities that, there's so much online. You don't even have to go to meetings. You can do Zoom calls and everything online and get people around you who are going to support you because they all started where you're starting. And there's nothing you can't do. If you want to do something, do it. There's a way to get it done. Be creative. All problems are solved with creativity. Really, they
Oh,
are, even in life. So,
oh,
and then my words are do everything you do with the intent of love, including yourself. So when you breathe in and out, you're refilling your lungs with the nutrients that you need to live. And so you're taking care of yourself. So do everything you do with the intent of love. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do for you.
oh, that's
I'm so glad
powerful.
we met you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that is very powerful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kay.
And I love how
Thank
you
you.
express it all in one. You have such a message for all of us. It's really
In,
great.
in every walk of life,
Every
it
walk of
resonates.
life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
you're
No matter
wonderful.
if you have disabilities or not, find a way to do it.
Yeah. Thank you
If
Phenomenal.
it's a,
so
Thank you.
much.
it's a, if it's a passion, that old adage, if it's a passion, it's not working. You're not working, you're not doing a 9 to 5. It's because just your passion is just what you want to do. There's something that has been given to you. Every individual, I believe this, that you're passionate about. Do it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Every person has a
Do
voice.
it.
Yes. Just
Yeah.
do it.
Just do it.
Now we sound like Nike. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we
do.
sound like, yeah, we just
I
gave them
didn't
a
want to
little
say more,
plug.
but yeah, it's true.
It's
Kay,
true.
thank you so much. Our guest today on Late Boomers has been Kay A. Oliver, award-winning author of 11 novels. Visit her website at kaoliver.com and read her books. I'm going to read some more. Thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure for both of you.
And we want to thank our listeners for subscribing to our podcast and checking us out on YouTube and recommending us to your friends. We appreciate you. We'd love to have you give us a 5-star review. And we want to hear about your experiences with late boomers and what gets you inspired, like today's conversation. We are on Instagram at I am Cathy Worthington and at I am Mary Elkins and at Late Boomers. Thank you for listening, and be sure to listen next week to our Late Boomers podcast when we feature Eric G., who will teach us about personality types coaching. I wonder if we get to hear what our types are. I hope.
I hope so.
Thanks again, Kay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
A pleasure.
What a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you guys too. This has been fun.
Thank you for joining us on Late Boomers, the podcast that is your guide to creating a third act with style, power, and impact. Please visit our website and get in touch with us at lateboomers.biz. If you would like to listen to or download other episodes of Late Boomers, go to ewnpodcastnetwork.com.
This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most other major podcast sites. We hope you make use of the wisdom you've gained here and that you enjoy a successful third act with your own style, power, and impact.